Hi there, everybody. Okay, let me get everything set up here properly while we're waiting for people to come in. And one more thing I want to do right here. I guess I'll put it. Ouch. Okay. Hi, a couple people here. How are you? Welcome. Okay, so tonight um we're still in Wisconsin, right? We're still in Wisconsin, um, talking about Chazzle McDazzle. Now, look, I am developing a serious dislike for Chazzle McDazzle. He's a joker, right? He's one of those people that it's difficult to like him. It's very hard to find common ground with Mr. Chazzle McDazzle. In fact, I would even go as far as saying that perhaps uh, I could definitely I definitely like Barry better than I like Chazzle. Um, but Chad Daybell, I don't know. Chad Daybell and old Chazzy Razzie, they're pretty much two peas in a pod, right? Yeah, Melly agrees with me. So welcome, Melly C. Hi, Diane. Welcome. Hey, Texas Lassie. Hey, Jenny. Yeah. Me- this guy is he's a ridiculous creature, right? Okay. So last night we had a couple of people come up on panel, and we had this discussion about the people that were close to Chazzle Razzle, okay, and that was Kat, the girlfriend, and they had been dating for 3 years. That's quite a long time for young people. Would y'all agree? That's a fairly significant relationship, right? So 3 years that they had been dating. Her mother, um, with whom, for some strange reason, she took Chaz out to eat with a celebration dinner that he received a job offer. People generally thought that was a little odd. And not overly, not off the hook, but not the norm. Definitely not the norm. And then we met Cress, and I think the majority of people felt like Cress is a straight shooter, right? She's pretty good. She seems like she's a fairly rational, logical human being. So we were kind of all over the place on our opinions on how this thing started, and I was very, not a little, I was very hesitant to fully voice my initial gut reaction to Kat's testimony. Okay. so so what I decided to do, rather than actually just come out, you know, um, Brockstar says my boyfriend and I said Chazzle Dazzle is the new pipsqueak. Chazzle Dazzle, it the Chadster and Chazzle Dazzle, they need to have their own fraternity together because they're about the same caliber. They're just goon gourds, right? They're just goofy. They lie. They have overblown expectations for their worth. I mean, they're ridiculous. And sadly, they both influenced what I think were, Tammy Daybell. uh, for all intent and purposes, she seemed like an absolutely remarkable woman, right? And so she got hurt by this bozo. And now you've got Kat, who seems like a beautiful young woman who had so much potential in the world. And so weirdo Chazzle McDazzle, he has messed things up for her forever. So it's just like these guys are just kind of poison. They're weak, they're spineless, they're just poison. But anyway, so I my heart broke for Kat. Okay, you have to be cold and cut off if watching her on the stand did not absolutely pull at your heartstrings, right? I mean, she is absolutely a sympathetic character, if ever there was one. But that doesn't get me away from the problem that there were moments in her testimony that just didn't seem how do I want they seemed a bit contrived. Is that a good way to describe it? There were some answers, there was some behavioral stuff. It just seemed like maybe she was having a really hard time being candid. What do y'all think? Was there anybody else that felt like she might have had a few answers that may not have been exactly, accurate? Or am I the only conspiracy theorist in the group? If you think that it was a little uncomfortable in some parts, put a 1. If you felt like she was perfect and there was no trouble, put a 2. I'm just curious. Yeah, Michael Catt passing away was shocking, DJ. Absolutely shocking. Yeah. Okay, so Melly kind of felt it. Carmen did. Okay, so I wasn't the only one, right? My boyfriend said the same exact thing. Okay, so she's struggling. Lise is like, no. She's just a young woman. She did the best she could. She was overwhelmed by a broken heart and nervousness. I get you, Lise. I said the same thing myself. To be a bit forgiving, right? To be careful and not have overly high expectations, for her behavior. I did the same, but I went back and listened, and in fact, I do think that Kat has a problem. Now, does that mean that they're going to look at her for some sort of charges? Probably not. I think it's more likely that it's a situation where they want her to cooperate, that they want her to help. And so maybe she knew a little bit more than she was willing to admit. But if she helps the prosecution, then maybe they're willing to look the other way. We all know that happens, right? We all know that happens. It's not a conspiracy. It does happen. So what was it that I found that made me feel that made me feel like that this may have been some level of evidence that perhaps Kat, maybe she's got some skin in the game, right? Maybe she's got something that she's a bit worried about, and so she's trying to protect a little bit. Okay. And I am trying to be really gracious and accepting that she is in the position that none of us would ever want to be in, nor would we want our own daughters to be in, right? It's a horrific nightmare. I mean, Chazzle, Razzle, Flim, Flam, Ding Dong. He needs to go under the jailhouse and never find himself out again. He's just not competent to be among rational human beings. Okay. So I'm going to do kind of the sad part first, and then I'm going to end with sort of a clip of Razzle McDazzle that really shows that Chandler Halderson is a goon gourd. He is a goon gourd. He has no logical thought. Really, he's just good. He's just this narcissistic goon, or appears to be, who tells the most outrageous lies, and then just has this expectation that everybody is believing him. It's crazy to watch. All right, so let's start with the thing that bothers me. That is going to be the end of the video. So right here, let me make sure I've got it slowed down to normal speed. Okay. Normal speed. Normal speed. Make sure this one is normal speed. Normal speed. Okay. Now then, I'm going to play this one first. Here we go. Share. Share my screen. Okay, we're going to go to day 2. Yep. Okay, so now this young woman that that you see on your screen, she is the daughter. Let me make sure that you've got a good view of that. Okay. She is the daughter of Chandler's mom's best friend, and they've been best friends for 38 years. Okay. Krista, and who is Chazzle Dazzle's mom. Krista and this girl's mother had met when they were in middle school, and they had been best friends ever since. Okay. They're such good friends that in adulthood, they're actually like brother and sister, and their kids call each other aunt and uncle. And so they're really more of a family unit than a friendly, hey, this is my buddy. They're like sisters. So this young lady grew up around Bart and Krista, being pure first cousins with Razzle Dazzle and his brother. And so the knowledge of each other's families is intimate, right? I mean, they've been to their house all the time. They go on vacations together. One group had a fishing camp, and so her family bought a fishing camp right next door. So they literally have developed a lifestyle where they are brother and sister, and they're all together. So this young woman right here going over to visit Chaz is exactly as if I were going to see my little brother, right? It's exactly the same thing. Comfort level is high. No secrets. You know where you keep the sharp knives. They're great friends together all the time. They know each other's lives intimately, right? So this young lady is a twin to another young lady, and they're both nurses. I believe they're 25 years old, so they're not little children. And they've been knowing Chaz his whole life, because he's like 23 at this time. So they've been knowing Chaz his whole life, and they've been a part of this family's life. Well, when they find out uncle and aunt have gone missing, then they take groceries and go over to the house because they believed that Chandler was by himself, that his mom and dad are missing. The cops have been called in, and now Chaz is at home alone, and they felt sad for him and they felt worried for him. And so they wanted to go over and help him. And one of the things they were going to do was to cook dinner, right? So now the prosecutor is questioning Hannah. This girl's name is Hannah. Is questioning Hannah about the condition of the home when she arrives. So I want you to listen closely to how Hannah describes the condition of the home when they arrive.
Something else.
A bit different.
Tell me about that.
Okay. Just like each detail
of what you remember, yeah.
Okay. So there were sheets on the couches. And then in the basement, I remember like there was these couches pushed together with a blanket laying over the couch as to like you could like lay in that, basically, you know. And Chandler had mentioned he was sleeping downstairs to one of the police that was when they were downstairs. I heard him saying that. So he had just been sleeping in the basement with two couches. Or like it's almost like a little fort looking thing that he built for himself, okay, basically downstairs. I can't say to be exact because the picture gets less clear in your mind as time goes on.
Sure.
But it was like a fort looking thing.
Okay. And did Chandler say anything to you, or did you overhear him saying anything about the sheets on the couch?
Yes. I heard him talking to the police saying that one of the people that he had, you know, because he went to you guys and explained that his parents were missing, because talking to my parents really were very adamant that he went and reported this. And apparently, like, there was another police earlier that day before Sims and this other detective or police, and he that had went there, and apparently that other detective didn't like the dog hair on the couches, so he had placed sheets on the couches to protect him from sitting on dog hair.
So some other unknown police officer had asked Chandler to cover the couches?
Yes.
Because of dog hair?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you observe anything about the fireplace?
Okay, that is very significant. This is going to turn out to be a very significant moment for Kat. Okay? For Kat, it's going to turn out to be significant. All right? So this is a young woman who has been in and out of that house her whole entire life. She knows the parents. She calls Chandler's mother Aunt Krista. She calls Chandler's father Uncle Bart. She spends tons of times with Krista, not with Chandler. It's not like the only time she goes over to their house is when she's with Chandler. She actually has a closer relationship with Bart and Krista than she does with the brothers. Okay, you got the idea, right? So this young woman, and her sister's the same. The sisters, the twin sister said, yeah, I walked in, everything's covered with blankets. It was weird. Like it was strange. And she walks in, she looks, and she's like, why is everything covered? Like she didn't say it, but she noticed it. She thought about it. And obviously, at some point in the conversation, she says to Shazzle McDazzle, why is everything covered? Like, what's this about? And Chazzle McDazzle, flim flam, ding dong, liar of the century, says, "Oh yeah, like there was another cop here, man. There was another cop, and he didn't like dog hair at all, like none. So yeah, he just asked me to cover everything. So he covered every piece of furniture with blankets because this unknown, OCD cop is in the house, and none of the cops seem to know who the guy is. It's pretty crazy. So this young woman right here, Hannah, she has established this is rubbish. This is absolute rubbish. That was not the norm for Krista and Bart to have things covered. That is absurd. Okay, and she says this later on. That's crazy. No, the stuff was not. That was not the norm, and we know that's not the norm because neither she nor her sister were just kind of like, nope, everything looked the same. Sofas covered just like always. They both said, well, yeah, it was weird because everything was covered up, and that's weird. And now we're going to get another person. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to share. I'm getting there. Hold on. I got to go to Wisconsin. I believe it's, yeah, this one. Okay. So this is the house where the murders happened. Okay, let me make sure that y'all have a good picture in StreamYard, and you do. All right, so let's listen. This is the first police officer on the scene. Okay, he did a weird thing. Well, he did a lot of weird things, but he actually went directly to the police station. He went to the wrong police station, but he did go to the police station to report his parents missing. This guy ends up calling the police officer that would actually be the proper one for this area, and they go over to the house. Okay, so this is the first cop on the scene, not some weird faceless cop that nobody knew that had a dog allergy. This is the first official on the scene. So let's see what he has to say.
Of a crime, no.
Okay. How would you describe the furniture in the living room?
The furniture itself was set like you would normally think of, couch and some other seats. But I did notice that they were covered with linen or blankets.
And were they covered while you were there or before you even entered the home?
They were covered before I entered the home.
And Deputy, this might seem like an odd question, but at any point did you request Chandler Halderson to cover the furniture to prevent the spread of dog hair?
No.
And going back just to briefly describe the house, this house would maybe in some circles be described as a tri-level.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 4 levels.
Okay, so the very first officer on the scene is like, no, I did not ask him to cover anything up, and I don't know what that's about, right? All right, so now we got one more thing to share. Let me find which one it is. Let's see, Chandler Halderson. Okay. Share screen, share audio, and I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay, so this is attractive and terrified young woman. This is Chazzle McDazzle's girlfriend of 3 years. 3 years. Now, she's been to the Halderson home or Halderson home. She texts back and forth with the mother. She goes over there to help cook and have fun and play games and watch movies, and she's part of the family. It's been 3 years. She knows what the house looks like, right? So let's see what she has to say.
You're familiar with the fact that they didn't have an AC unit, correct?
Correct.
And this summer was particularly hot, correct?
Correct.
So when you were around during the summer, it wasn't unusual for them to have their windows open.
Not unusual at all.
They were also doing renovations around that time, correct?
Correct.
We've seen a couple pictures of the home, and there were what I'll refer to as blankets that were covering some of the furniture. That's not unusual, correct?
Not at all.
And do you know why the blankets were there?
Miss Halderson likes protecting the couches from the dogs because they would jump on there, especially once coming outside.
So that was probably something that was kept year round throughout the house.
The blankets on the couches?
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know what else to say, right? So let's see what you guys have to say about it. Do you think that Kat has a problem? Do you think that this is going to be something that is going to come back and get her? There's a link if you want to come up on panel and tell us your opinion. I'd welcome that. I just pulled out 2 people that talked about it. It was the norm. One of them said it was the norm that things be uncovered. There is video of Chandler saying, "Oh no, the cop said, cover everything because he didn't like the dog hair." The first officer on the scene, when he arrived, everything was covered. So the only 2 people that are talking about the sofas being covered because of dog hair is Chazzle Dazzle and Kat. They're the only 2. Yeah, Carmen, right? It is a little bit. Bye, happy. So what do y'all think? How do you think that this happened? How do you think that how did she end up in this situation where she's obviously saying something that's untrue? I think Kat is trying her best to hide behind that mask. Well, yeah, no, maybe Honey K, and look, I'm going to tell you, if it was me, I would be doing the same exact thing. But again, did y'all hear what I played? Like, did y'all hear the clips? But this isn't about the mask. We're not talking about the mask. We're not talking about the mask. Why are y'all talking about the mask? I'm asking you a question about the clips that I played. Okay. Listen, this is a young lady that has known this family her whole entire life. She's like one of the daughters in the family. Listen to what she says about the sheets.
And Chandler had mentioned he was sleeping downstairs to one of the police that was, when they were downstairs, I heard him saying that. So he had just been sleeping in the basement with two couches. It's almost like a little fort looking thing that he built for himself,
Okay.
basically downstairs. I can't say to be exact because the picture gets less clear in your mind as time goes on,
Sure.
but it was like a fort looking thing.
Okay. And did Chandler say anything to you, or did you overhear him saying anything about the sheets on the couch?
Yes, I heard him talking to the police saying that one of the people that he had, because he went to you guys and explained that his parents were missing, because talking to my parents really were very adamant that he went and reported this. And apparently, like, there was another police earlier that day before Sims and this other detective or police, and he that had went there, and apparently that other detective didn't like the dog hair on the couches, so he had placed sheets on the couches to protect him from sitting on dog hair.
So some other unknown police officer.
Okay, that was Razzle McDazzle telling others that it was the first police officer that came by that told him to cover everything up, right? Okay, so now I'm going to share with you the testimony of the first police officer that was on the scene. So let's see what he says. Let's see if he says, "Oh yeah. I told them that they had to cover up the sofa." Let's see what he says. Please pay attention.
Furniture itself was set like you would normally think of, couch and some other seats. But I did notice that they were covered with linen or blankets.
And were they covered while you were there or before you even entered the home?
They were covered before I entered the home.
And Deputy, this might seem like an odd question, but at any point did you request Chandler Halderson to cover the furniture to prevent the spread of dog hair?
No.
They were also doing renovations around that time, correct?
Correct.
We've seen a couple pictures of the home, and there were what I'll refer to as blankets that were covering some of the furniture. That's not unusual, correct?
Not at all.
And do you know why the blankets were there?
Miss Halderson likes protecting the couches from the dogs because they would jump on there, especially once coming outside.
So that was probably something that was kept year round throughout the house.
The blankets on the couches? Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, did y'all hear that time? Did everybody hear? Did y'all hear? I don't know. He maybe mixed in his own Okay. I'm going to try this one more time. Okay. This young woman let me find her. This young woman right here, she is like a sister from birth. Like when her mother gave birth, Chandler's mom was there in the delivery room helping her. This girl grew up in the home with Chandler and his brother Mitchell. Okay? They live just miles from each other. They vacationed together. They had vacation houses next door to each other on a lake. They were together all the time. She knows everything about each other's family. It would be like if I was on a witness stand and a attorney said to me, excuse me, Jules, did you notice anything unusual about your mother's house? Well, yes, I did. I walked in and I noticed that there were blankets on all of her furniture. Oh, well, is that unusual? That's so unusual. I can't recall that I ever saw blankets hiding all of her furniture. That would be very weird. Okay, that's the significance of this. This young woman right here, she's saying it was weird. And then she goes on to say the words of Chandler. Let's see if I can get back to that part. She goes on to say the words of Chandler, who says, oh, yeah. The first cop that was here, he told me to cover all the sofas because he didn't like the dog hair. Chandler says that to this girl or to another cop while she's there in the room. There was a cop here a while ago, and that cop, he didn't like dog hair, so he told me to cover all the chairs and the sofa. This girl overheard it. That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay. Hannah, had you been over to the 4595 Oak Spring Circle address in the past?
Yes.
Did the house look the same, different, or something else?
A bit different.
Tell me about that.
Okay. Just like each detail of
What you remember, yeah.
okay. So there were sheets on the couches. And then in the basement, I remember like there was these couches pushed together with a blanket laying over the couch as to like you could like lay in that basically, and Chandler had mentioned he was sleeping downstairs to one of the police that was when they were downstairs. I heard him saying that. So he had just been sleeping in the basement with two couches. It's almost like a little fort looking thing that he built for himself,
Okay.
basically downstairs. I can't say to be exact because the picture gets less clear in your mind as time goes on,
Sure.
but it was like a fort looking thing.
Okay. And did Chandler say anything to you, or did you overhear him saying anything about the sheets on the couch?
Yes. I heard him talking to the police saying that one of the people that he had, because he went to you guys and explained that his parents were missing, because talking to my parents really were very adamant that he went and reported this. And apparently, like, there was another police earlier that day before Sims and this other detective or police, and he that had went there, and apparently that other detective didn't like the dog hair on the couches, so he had placed sheets on the couches to protect him from sitting on dog hair.
So
Chandler told them this. Chandler did. Chandler said there was a police officer that was here and he did not like the dog hair. And so I covered the furniture because of the first detective that was here. Now listen to Kat.
And there were what I'll refer to as blankets that were covering some of the furniture. That's not unusual, correct?
Not at all.
And do you know why the blankets were there?
Miss Halderson likes protecting the couches from the dogs because they would jump on there, especially once coming outside.
So that was probably something that was kept year round throughout the house.
The blankets on the couches?
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, I think you guys heard it that time, right? So what are you thinking? It's definitely, Diane. Yes. I mean, there's no doubt it's a lie. And I'm with Scottie Nona. What a crazy lie to have, right? So it is, and I'm going to tell you this too. Notice that the defense attorney set her up. The defense attorney said, "Oh, you noticed there were blankets everywhere. Was that the norm? Like, was she not paying attention when the first police officer came in and said, no, I didn't tell him to cover the cops up, the sofas up? And was the defense attorney not listening when Hannah was on the stand saying, yeah, everything was covered. It was weird. And then Chandler said, one of the detectives came in and said, cover the stuff because I don't like the dog hair. What's the defense doing? It's a dumb lie, but there's a lot more to the story. I think there's a lot more to the story too. Yeah. I think there's definitely a problem. So but the defense really doesn't have much to work. No, Melanie, they have nothing to work with. But here's my thing, Melanie. They have nothing to work with, and why in the world did the defense attorneys implicate this young woman by putting her on the stand and forcing her to tell a lie? Why did they do that? Look at her eyes. Can you see her eyes? What are those eyeballs telling you right there? Look at her. She just told a whopper of a lie in a court of law. Look at her eyes. Does the word haunted come to mind? No, Carmen, I have to disagree with you. So Carmen says the defense is trying to dispute what the niece said. There's no disputing that. There were many people that said that it was unusual for things to be covered. These were just, look, I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep people's attention on this, which is the reason why I only pulled out 2 examples. But I can go in and time again with all the different witnesses that went into the house that day, they were all saying the same thing. The brother said, no, we don't cover our sofas. The brother said that. So no, the defense is trying to say the cop is a liar. Well, what's the point of the cop being a liar? That's silly. There's no reason that the cop would lie. This was a Skeeter wing cop. He was just there taking the initial report. He wasn't a detective. Well, Melanie, there are other problems for Kat. This was the first one I pulled out. There's lots of these episodes. So Carmen thinks the defense is trying to say the cop is the liar, but that doesn't make sense to me. No, I don't think they can implicate Kat. I think Kat's trying to save the man. Remember, Kat is a witness, so she was not in the courtroom for those other witnesses. She did not hear what Hannah said. She did not hear what the first police officer said. She did not hear what Mitchell said. She did not hear what the twin sister said. She didn't know what they had said. She lied. And notice and this is for Carmen. Notice that the lie that Kat tells, it matches exactly, similarly matches what Chandler is saying throughout. Chandler continues to go back to, oh yeah, dog hair everywhere, man. Oh yeah, I had to do lots of chores cleaning up dog hair. Dog hair was everywhere. Dog hair everywhere. Oh yeah, I changed he actually said this. I change my sheets every day because the dog sleeps in my bed. Dog hair everywhere. This parallels what Kat's testimony was. I think they had that cooked up together. I think they have their stories straight. And here's how it came out that Chandler lies and says, no, there was another cop here, and he's the one that asked me to cover everything. And that was because Hannah and her sister were standing in the room when this conversation was going on. So he couldn't say, oh yeah, my mom keeps everything covered because of the dog hair, because Hannah and her sister would have said, no, she doesn't. Y'all don't keep your things covered. We're here all the time. So he had to make up a lie on the fly for the other detective that said, hey, I noticed there's stuff, everything's covered. Why is your stuff covered up? She brought pounds of ice, Jules Hughes, pounds of ice, and 2 bottles of peroxide, 2 bottles of peroxide, and a Swiffer wet jet because he's got a little cut on his foot. Right, Miss H. This is shockingly blatant. Yeah, the brother said it was not covered either. Yeah. And Hannah's mother. Well, and we wonder, right, Jules Hughes? That's a question. Was there a deal? Was there a deal made? That's a big question. Listen, this young woman, I want y'all to think back because we all know Chris Watts. Oh my God, we know the Chris Watts saga. You remember the day that everybody died, Chris Watts was looking up the price of Audis. Remember? A $90,000 car. I think he was looking up an A7, right? This young woman, they found screenshots in Snapchat where she was looking at a house in Titusville, Florida that was $688,000. $688,000. let's just say that her boyfriend was graduating college and getting a job for $80,000 a year. I don't know about my $80,000, but will your $80,000 even get you a loan approved for a $700,000 house? No. No. $700,000? So you wonder, were you expecting some money? Exactly, Melly. Oh, her mother was so disturbed, Jules. Her mom was so disturbed. I'm telling you, between Kat and her mother, it was painful to watch. And she does look terrified, Karen. She looks terrified and she looks haunted. I mean, this guy, Razzle Dazzle, he is a big old piece of you know what. He is a bad human being. He deserves to be under the jailhouse. The house hunting was odd, and the text, you deserve it. There were all kinds of things. What about this one? If it doesn't work, will you leave me? What? What do you mean if it doesn't work? Some very, very strange things. Very strange things. But maybe there was a deal, right? And I guess, that's okay. There are other moments during her testimony that are equally as damning. And so I will pull them out on some other videos. But for this one, I just thought this was so, yeah, this is Kat, Lolo. Yeah. This is so clear that not only did she lie on the stand, but her lie matches Chandler's words that day. Right? And we hope that there was a deal struck. Because if there wasn't, I think the prosecution is going to come back. I think she's going to have a real problem once this trial is over. Yeah, he not only, Nona, did he use the fireplace in July, but he made the fire so hot that it literally cracked the glass in the fireplace. And you can see up the side of the fireplace toward the ceiling, it's just black. One of the neighbors across the street said that you could see him late at night with this big blaze going in the middle of July. Maybe he is so strange, nothing surprises him. Oh, he's strange. He's strange. No doubt about that. All right. So here we go on our last clip tonight. All right. Let me make sure I got it right. And I want y'all to visualize what this goon gourd says. I mean, he's ridiculous. Truly, truly ridiculous guy. I look at this fella and I just wonder, what in the world was this young woman? What did she see in him? I mean, it's not about physical. You're going to find out when you listen to him talking. You're going to see what I mean. But he's just kind of creepy. When he talks, it's so odd. I just can't imagine. She's a hard worker. She's got a great job. She's got her own apartment. Beautiful. What in the world was he was obviously filling her full of lies. Clearly. because this guy's worse than the Chadster, in my opinion. All right, here we go. Listen closely, because this is the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
And I got a free one. Sweet. It was terrible.
Oh, it was?
I wanted to try Karuka Gold.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Then we're at Tuesday. Cat's working. I'm gaming. Job hunt. And then
Okay. Tuesday, my dad just busted my ass that I'm a liar because I'm not in college and I didn't get a job offer at SpaceX, and everybody's finding out what a loser I am, and Kat's working, got her own apartment, and she's working, and I'm at home, I'm gaming, get a job, gaming. Incredible. This is the most useless pile of flesh since Chad Daybell.
then I started trying to get the glass.
Okay, so the guy is telling them he's got this big farce going on that he cut his foot on a piece of glass from the broken fireplace, mind you. Okay, that is what he says. Oh yeah, by the way, something else. Bring me a gallon of peroxide because I cut my footy woody. Okay, need a little bit of help to cut my little foot, and I'm bleeding everywhere. Gallons of blood. It's all over the place. It's on the ceiling. It's hanging from the chandelier. Could you bring me a Swiffer wet jet too, honey, while you're at it? Okay. So Kat gets he's got one container of hydrogen peroxide. She grabs a second container of hydrogen peroxide and a Swiffer wet jet. Takes it over to the house, leaves it, and leaves. Now he's describing the blood from the piece of glass that was in his foot, his left foot, that he needed to get tweezers to remove the piece of glass. Okay? So just envision glass in the bottom of your foot. You had to get tweezers to remove the piece of glass, but you were bleeding gallons of blood. So the cops are going, well, where all was there blood? So now he's trying to explain why there's blood all over the house.
Been a little lazy on the glass. I just kind of had chairs in front of it. I broom and, a little sweeper holder, you broom it into that dustpan. Yeah. Tossing the glass into recycling. I get most of it. There's a bunch in the cracks of the stone that I'm picking out by hand. I didn't injure myself from that, but yeah. Just
Remember, this is our SpaceX engineering
on the
genius.
floor, so I got the Swiffer I borrowed from Kat, from the foot. I borrowed a Swiffer to mop. I Swiffered the floor, like not the stone, but the floor. And then I got a little bit in the kitchen. And then everywhere kind of I walked, pretty much. The bathroom.
Everywhere I walk,
kitchen.
I'm leaving blood.
And then I couldn't get the carpet, so I still stained that up, crappy.
He stained up the carpet.
The stairs between basement and kitchen.
Carpet. Oh, that's right.
Carpet stairs. I tried. I can't get it out. I don't know how to do that, but then all the way up to the laundry room where I found my first aid kit. I just tried to stop all the bleeding, but it wouldn't stop. So
And that blood was all coming from your left foot.
Yeah, left foot hole.
Left foot hole.
I mean, are we talking massive amounts of blood? Or are we talking, you know, a little bit, like describe?
It started as drops until I got to the bathroom. And then I got back to go grab my sock and some of the paper towel. And then I see the glasses in there, so I grab the tweezers and I pull it out. And then it starts squirting out. And I got
Okay. This is the only human being on the planet that has a jugular vein running through the bottom of his foot. Okay. So they've struck an artery. His little sliver of glass struck an artery, and every time he removes the paper towel, blood is shooting out across his foot. It's going across the room. Each time his heart beats, there's a squirt of blood. Squirt, 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 squirt.
some on a little bit of the rock. It wasn't that bad of the rock, but it I think the worst was that floor that like it kind of like like this lid puddles.
Mm-hmm.
It was-
Okay. He's leaving puddles of blood from the left foot hole. Yeah, I don't think so, jackass. I think you're full of it.
good.
Are we talking the floor down in the basement?
Well, that one, and then I go upstairs to the kitchen, and it's still going, and I'm trying to get my foot in the sink just to slow it down and pinch it maybe.
Okay, I don't know why he hadn't lost consciousness, right? I mean, the guy is losing gallons of blood all over the house, first floor, second floor, basement. How's he even able to walk? I don't know why he hadn't passed out myself. I think we're going to
and
need a
then
blood
I waddle
transfusion.
upstairs to the IFAC or the first aid
First
kit.
aid kit.
And once I got it kind of bundled up, it stopped for what I know. Then I need to get some tape. We have a tape box in the basement. I go there and I opened it up again. I bled a little bit more, but the basement was easy to clean. It's just cement.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of water, and I rigged that up. But I grabbed the tape box and I wrapped it. After that's Tuesday.
Yep.
That's Tuesday. Wings. I go to Cats.
Oh, okay.
We had wings.
BWs. Tuesday is
Yeah, so
BWs.
I've been doing the BS of first aid and all that. I go to Kat's house with her mom and her brother. That could have been 5 or 6. I can't give you the exact.
Did you guys pick up the wings and go there? Or?
No, I drove to Kat's. Straight there.
What'd you drive?
The Subaru.
Car of choice.
I just with the Volvo's seat, like, just, I can't do it with my foot.
Okay. So we're talking about wings. Did you guys go pick up wings? Or?
Yeah, so we get there, and we're calling around, seeing what's up. James is getting home with Jimmy John's. And we're like, oh, don't eat all of it. He's like, oh, I'm hungry now. Do all that post-gym crap. So he grabs, eats half of his sandwich, and then we go, Cat and I, the two of us, in my car, we go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Do you remember which one?
I couldn't tell you.
Nope, he doesn't remember. He doesn't. He and Barry Morphew have the same disease. I don't remember. I can't recall. I don't know. Okay. All right. So look, um, I'm gonna also show probably tomorrow the doctor, because that is equally as ridiculous. The story that this fella tells. Wait, what did you say, Jules? Something has been removed? I did see the torso of the father. Yeah, I did see that. Yep. 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 Um and then on the other the next day they used handouts, and they didn't let that happen like they did. I was pretty surprised they let that out, actually. I think it was an honest mistake, really. Um yeah, supposedly he fell down the stairs and he got a mild concussion. Now he told everybody he had a severe concussion, that he had a subdermal hematoma, which is a bruise, that he was going to have a coloscopy, I can't say it, coloscopy back, colostomy, thank you, a colostomy bag, that he wasn't going to be able to walk. It was permanent. He told these outrageous things for his health, right? From falling down the stairs. They put the doctor up on the stand, and the doctor was like laughing. Doctor was like, no, nope, I didn't say that. No, no, I did not tell him he was gonna. And he told him that he should be okay once they drill a hole in his head to let out the pressure. And the neurologist that was on the stand, when they asked him, did you tell him that you were going to drill a hole in his head? He laughed. He said, I didn't. I never told him that we were going to drill a hole in his head. So I want you to think about this. He's sitting there at the table with his two female attorneys. He's sitting there with all the truth of just how ridiculous he is. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. It's incredible. I don't know how I can, Carmen. Do you? I can't imagine it. The lies that he has told has been it's shocking, and I'm afraid that he has implicated Kat in all of his lies. I just cannot imagine how he could possibly. I really can't. Of course, I'm going to say it. Nobody else may want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Okay. His attorneys are awful. They're awful. I want to know, for those of you that have been watching the trial and you feel like you're pretty well informed, you've watched more than half. Okay. What is your opinion of the defense attorneys? Do you feel like that so far? Look, I have sat there so many times and I've thought, why are they not objecting? Why are they not objecting? That's hearsay. That's hearsay. That's hearsay. Why aren't they objecting? I'm not an attorney. What do y'all think? Do y'all think they're doing a good job, or do you think it's a little bit strange? He is deep, derpy derp. He's a major derpy derp. He's worse than Chad Daybell. Chaz is obviously on something, Kathy. Yeah, the defense attorneys are court appointed. Yeah, he would. Diane, you're exactly right. Barry was pretty derp too, wasn't he? Because they're like, hey, you were running around your house, like what were you doing? And rather than saying, that was signal drift. I was sitting in my living room. I wasn't running around anywhere. He goes, oh well, yeah, I was out there shooting chipmunks. No, 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 no. I was shooting tranquilizer darts at deer so I could saw off the rack. Yeah, Barry's pretty derp too. Jules Hughes says, no, 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 no. Nobody can compare to a Daybell. I swear, this guy right here, he is worse than the Chadster. In my opinion, he's the worst. Well, Diantha, I would agree things are bleak at best, right? I mean, this is one of those. I feel the same about Barry Morphew. I feel like, how in the world are they? Of course, his attorneys are real attorneys. I mean, they're the best, right? But man, he has got so many problems where he was caught bald face in lies, right? I just can't imagine that but this guy, same problem as Barry. The circumstantial evidence against him is so deep that you can't imagine that his attorneys even know where to start. And same thing with Barry. The circumstantial against Barry is just a mountain. It's just a mountain. I don't even know how you get around it, really. But he does have $1 million attorneys. So if anybody can get Barry Morphew off, it'll be those two ladies. The ding dong bells. The whole bunch of them, right? Yeah, I think that's Donna, I think that is the game plan with the Bulldogs from Denver. I think it's going to be chaos. I think the whole goal is to go on the offense and keep everything so confused and tied up in this, putting the prosecution in a defensive position that they won't be able to go after Barry. I think that's what they're doing. Yeah, and this little bastard right here, what he's done to Kat is evil. Of course, what he did to his poor mother and father is double evil, right? But the reason that it bothers me so much about implicating Kat is she was trying to do it right. She had a job, she had an apartment, she was working her tail off trying to do good. She was actually trying to get into more college education. So he just came along and just destroyed her life because he's a leech, because he's a blood-sucking leech. Because he's a little psychopath that thinks that the world owes him everything. Jules, have you talked about the new judge assigned to the Morphew case? Lolo, I've been saying, save the drama for Judge Llama. So, the judge's name is Llama. But for all intent purposes, he looks to be absolutely amazing. So I think he's going to be better. I think he's going to be better than Patrick Murphy. Here's what I think about Murphy. I think Murphy was a great judge. I think that he wasn't a very ambitious guy. I mean, you got to have a lot of ambition to become a judge. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that once he became judge, he was able to live in a place that was wonderful. And so he's sort of coasting now. You know, he's really happy to go work a few hours every day and then go fishing the rest of the day or go snow skiing. Barry's his buddy. They ran in the same circles. His kids were friends with Barry's kids. There's not a lot of people in Salida that have a couple of $1 million in the bank. So that little clubhouse is small, right? And so they had common friends, and I think that made it very difficult for Murphy. I think he was trying to follow the law by the book because of the complications. And I think that he was damn glad to get rid of the case. Maybe, Carmen, maybe. Yeah. So, yeah, this bozo right here wasn't like an Eagle Scout. I don't even believe that, though, Kathy. Don't believe it. Unless you see a picture with the badges and pins, don't believe it. I think that's more lies. I think it's bullshit. I don't think he ever was. I bet his brother was. I'll guarantee you his brother was. Oh, she's screwed, Jules. Yep. Yeah, he did clean off, Carmen. You want to know where he cleaned off? Prepare yourself. He cleaned off in a swimming pool where Kat's mother and Kat's mother's fiance were standing there. So they got the grossness on them. I mean, this guy is a disgusting psychopathic pig. Did you get NK vibes from Kat? No. I didn't feel like she was manipulative. I felt like she was manipulated. That's exactly right, Jules. No, he did not kill his brother. I'm sure Murphy was angry that Barry had backed him up against a wall. I'm sure he was glad to not be involved. Oh, absolutely, Honey K. I think getting out from underneath that case was the best day of Patrick Murphy's life. Absolutely. Yep. It's just a circus. The whole thing has been a circus where the Suzanne Morphy disappearance is concerned. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Well, I don't know about that, Jules. You know, writing a book is not easy. You know what I mean? It requires organizational skill, certain executive functioning type skills that are developed over time. You know, you don't just, people can't just sit down and write out a novel. It's a very difficult endeavor, and it requires perfect memory, and it's very difficult. So I don't think that they would sit down and write a book. Now, could they hire a ghostwriter? Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of wealthy people do that who want to write a biography. But that's expensive. Do they strike you as the kind of people that would have the money to hire a ghostwriter? I don't think so. You know. It is very quick, Jules. The murders happened somewhere July the 1st to July the 2nd, right? And 2021. And here we are literally 6 months later. in the trial? Very fast. Very fast. Chaz was consumed with the minutia of a tiny toe cut instead of the horror of what he's done. Isn't that interesting, Kathy? That is a really great point. Isn't that interesting that he got this little glass cut on his foot? He called it a hole, right? He said, oh, the left foot hole was spurting blood, leaving puddles of blood throughout the entire house, right? What happened to all the blood from his mom and dad? Like, did that not freak him out? Did that not scare him to death? No, because I think he's a psychopath. Six months from arrest to trial. It's got to be some kind of a record. Welcome back, Jackie Hughes. Jackie Hughes. You want to know? I bet you this happened. I bet that old Shazzle McDazzle, I bet he demanded that they go to court immediately. I guarantee you he demanded it because what? He believes he's going to be acquitted. He believes it. He is certain that he is getting off. He is absolutely convinced that he is fine. Mark my words. When they say guilty, he is going to crumble. Watch. Writing a book like The Chatster, Fancy Nancy. Good God. Have you read one of his books? It is like reading a fifth grader. Like a fifth grader sat down and wrote a story. It's awful. The alleged blood from the toe was an excuse for any blood found in the house as well as his cleanup effort. Well, of course. Yeah, of course. But but that's just dumb. There's no way that you're going to lose gallons of blood from, a little toe cut. Hey, Rochelle, how are you? Welcome back. I don't know. Surely they asked to see it, right? Because the cut happened on the 1st or the 2nd, and this interview that they're doing right here is happening on the 8th. So that's only 6 days. Sure, a wound that is spurting blood. Wouldn't you think it was still discernible just 5-6 days later? Is he? I think he's just eat up with narcissism, Carmen. He's so antisocial, right? He's so antisocial. He let his mom and dad pay for everything. He let his girlfriend pay for everything. And then when the jig was up and they all caught on to his lies and everything he was doing, then they were going to say, you're cut off. You got to get out there and make your own way. He chose to murder them rather in hopes of getting $1 million, right? His dad had a couple $1 million saved, and he figured, I'll get $1 million, my brother get $1 million, I'll never have to work again. Little does he know that $1 million doesn't go that far in today's world, especially when your woman is looking at a $700,000 house. No, I truly believe that this was all fantasy, like you said, delusional thought, that he was so special that he was entitled to that $1 million, and his parents were old and they were going to be dying anyway, and so he just helped them get out of the way so he could do the important thing, which was to get Chazzer his money that he deserved because he was special. Oh, wow, Jules. Really? Do they know what he did? Do they know about him and the, the goddess of love? That's crazy. Jules, we need to have an intervention with your daughter-in-law. We need an intervention. Quick, bring them to Jules of Thought. Yes, desired. Yes. Exactly like the male version of Jodi Arias, honey Kay. Okay, listen, Jules Hughes, you've got to show your daughter this channel so that we can start like making some sense, because the Chadster is full of it. His books he's full of it. Oh my God. Well, I am so sorry, Jules Hughes. I know that you're worried. I know you are. What does your son say? Does he know the whole story? It's my daughter's husband's parents. Oh my gosh. I bet your daughter thinks they're whack. Yeah, Jules is dark and creepy. Dark and scary. Jules listens to that old Jules of Thought, speaking blasphemy against the prophet Chad. Oh my gosh, they need to know the story, Jules. Wow. I know that you're in a really weird position, Jules Hughes. It's so listen, y'all, it's not Jules Hughes' daughter and husband. It's her daughter's husband's mom and dad that read the Chadster and they love his books. They're from Utah, so they're Mormon probably. Wow. Well, I don't know. I don't think there's anything to be scared of. It's just hard to believe that they haven't heard the whole story. Well, yeah, didn't Chad get excommunicated, Jules? Isn't he out of the church? And Julie, what's crazy Julie's name? I can't either, Fancy Nancy. He's such a creep. He's such a creepy guy. When I look at him talking, I just feel like I need a shower. He just seems icky. So they know, and they don't believe he was involved. They think it was all Lori. He makes me sick, Vicky Carpenter. When I hear Chad Daybell talk, I just get sick to my stomach. He needs a shower. That's right, Lola. Rowe. Oh my God, Julie Rowe. Yet Jules has heard of Julie Rowe too. Yes, he's weird. Yeah. Do you know Sean Little Bear? And Jason Wow. Matt Jason, wow. They asked for your DNA, big guy. Yeah, she knew the Chadster in a biblical way. That now you can be sufficiently grossed out. They think he's like Harry Potter? Make believe. God. Oh my God. Well, I have more respect for Harry Potter than I do the Chadster. That is for certain. Yeah. It is incredible circus. I keep watching Mark Mean's Twitter page, and I kept expecting him to sort of twist off and throw a shoe, but he hasn't that I've seen. So we'll see how that, ends up. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of strange in a lot of ways. I listen to this guy and I watch his mannerisms, and I always see this parallel to Chad Daybell with him. They're both just kind of these weak, mealy mouthed, spineless kind of, losers who just decide that it's okay to kill people to get money. They're the same animal, or maybe I should say they're the same insect. But anyway, okay, everybody. So let me just sort of review. They're busy reading the Chaster's books and listening to Julie Rowe. They don't have time for an alternate universe. You listen, Kathy, I think that we are far more entertaining than Julie Rowe and Chad Daybell, don't you? Don't you think that Jules Hughes's in-laws, don't you think that she could tell them to come to our channel and hang out with us, and we could have an intervention? Yeah. And they'd have a lot more fun in our community than in the Chadster. He is mealy now, little mealy worms. It's weird. I paid the bill for dinner and drove home in a daze. I cannot believe what I was hearing. Oh, I can't even imagine, Jules. I don't know how you ended up not saying something. I wouldn't have been able to control myself. Bill would have been pinching my leg under the table, like, don't say anything, don't say anything. And then I would have been like, are y'all crazy? Are y'all absolutely crazy? You asked, what'd they say about the 144,000? Do they really want to spend the end times with Chad and Lori? Ugh. Oh, so evil, Sketty-Nona. So evil. Absolutely. I paid the bill and left. Well, you're a better woman than I am. I wouldn't have paid the bill. I would have said, you know what? Maybe Chadster will come over from his portal and cover the bill for us. Surreal meal. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Crazy. I can't even believe that I kind of vicariously know of someone who read Chad Daybell's books and liked them. I tried to read one just because I was curious, and it was just like pulling teeth. It was just like, oh my God, another page. It's horrible. They do know, Donna. Yeah, they know. Crazy. But of course, everybody else is lying. Chad was railroaded, right? And they listened to Julie Rowe, with their little flags and her big old boobs and her shirts that are 3 sizes too small. Loin fire. Kathy, you had to remind me, really? It's taken me months to get that out of my mind. Ugh. Can I say this too? Listen, all those channels that were reading the text porn between Chad and Lori, I don't know how they did it. I literally do not know how they did it. I couldn't even read it. I was just thinking, this is too disgusting for me. Me too, Kathy. Totally. Oh, Jules, you don't need that kind of help, honey. And it's certainly not the direction you want to go. Look at where Chad and Lori ended up. Chazelle reminds me of Casey Anthony living at home and lying to his parents about school and having a job. What should have the poor parents have done to prevent this? Hold your children accountable, Aldo. Hold your children accountable. When they get in when they screw up, they get in trouble, let them suffer the consequences. Oh, I'm sure he laughed all the way through. I can't even imagine, Lolo. I cannot even. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how some of them did it, really. Trish over on Web Sleuth, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I had tears coming from my eyes. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, I don't want. Carmen said, Jules, send them a copy of Loin Fire. Ugh, gross. Gross. There you go, Lolo. That is called denial. That they want to help Jules, that they feel bad for Jules, and they're the ones listening to Julie Rowe. 12 years, yeah. I couldn't. Lolo, I couldn't. I was so grossed out by Chad Daybell. I just couldn't. Because you know what I kept thinking? See, now I'm getting down in the mud here. Here's what I kept thinking. So Lori is a woman who is accustomed to having men attracted to her, right? So she could hear that and know that what he was saying was just damn goofy. Not sexy, not hot, not all those things, but goofy, just stupid. Child, middle school, like a little kid, right? How does she overlook that? How do you overlook that? I don't know. It's weird. She thought it was sweet. Black Rose, welcome, my friend. It is very good to see you. Listen, I'm about to end this live because we're just chit-chatting now. But if you go back to the beginning of the video, I really did get into the heart of this video very quickly, okay? And it's probably only going to last about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I make my case where Kat is concerned. So I hope you'll go and watch from the beginning, and then maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. Because I'd love to get your opinion, what you think. Yep. All right. Hey, Vicky Carpenter. I think that if this Chadster's bunch was younger and more attractive, this case would get better traction worldwide. I don't know. The Chadster's pretty famous. That I think it's going to be a huge case when the trial finally gets going. This to me is amazing. No chazzle razzle. I couldn't believe that this happened July 2021. I mean, I went to like 5 different news sites to make sure I wasn't reading it wrong. And I was like, it really did. It only happened 6 months ago. They're already in trial. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Chad Daybell, we still hadn't even gotten Lori arraigned. Crazy. It took a year to even arrest old Barry. Piddling Bill said because he's innocent. You just like him because he has guns.
I don't like him. I just think he's innocent.
Well, then where'd she go?
The other guy got her.
What guy?
They're off living in the Caribbean somewhere.
Oh, you think she's still alive?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about, Bill. Bill's trying to talk true crime. He says that Barry's not such a bad guy because he's a hunter. He kind of gets him, you know. He said we don't like him because he's too macho.
His toxic masculinity.
It's my husband said that we all think that Barry is guilty because Barry has toxic masculinity. That he does. All right. This ding dong daybell case is the most bizarre ever. It is. It's so bizarre, Jules. And he is a ding dong. He's a derpy derp. Like when I watch Chad Daybell, the song plays in my head, this children's song. Derpy 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 derp, derpy derp, derpy derp, derpy derpy derp. All right. Jules Hughes says, bye, Bill. All right. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I hope, Black Rose, that you'll go back to the beginning of this video and watch, because I do make the case fairly quickly for my position on Kat being sucked into the madness of this derpy derp. And we'll see where we go from there. I am going to play the doctor tomorrow. After all, anybody that has a left foot hole that is gushing puddles of blood on 3 different stories of a house that requires 2 big jars of hydrogen peroxide and a Swiffer wet jet to clean ought to have a damn doctor, don't you think? All right. So tomorrow, Mr. Mac Sexy is going to be on my channel. Okay. Because the doctor is a cutie patootie. All right. Y'all have a great evening. It's Saturday night. Have fun. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.